That's not in my pick. I have the wrong pick in my hand. Where's my pick? Oh, there we go. Oops. All right, GT-1000 core. Why am I making this video? Well, all right, let's start with that because this is the reason why I'm making this video, of course. Boss just released a bunch of new products, the GX1, they released the GX10, they had the GX100 or GT100 or something like that. They've had a variety of different modeling boards come out that keep approaching a lower and lower price point, which I love. I'm so excited about that. I've definitely been telling some of my students about it because they're looking into pedal boards and stuff, and I'm like, dude, get this. It's like $230, it's like $300. You can't go wrong with it. But the GT-1000 exists, and the GT-1000 core exists, and those are just a little bit more. And I want to make this video to tell you why I think you should consider the GT-1000 in 2026, and why it's been so awesome for me for the past few years. I think it's the best modeler. For the money, I'll say it like that. Is it the best modeler? I don't know. But is it the best modeler for the price it's at? Like best value per dollar, I think it is. And if you can just get over the black and white screen, no touch interface. I actually hate touch screens on any device except for my phone. That's the only thing I'm on a touch screen on. If you can get past those two things, then I think it is really the greatest thing. And I'm going to go over today with you my preset that I use all the time, how I've edited it. It's not going to be a how-to or like explainer on the GT-1000. I'm just going to kind of go over why I think it rocks. And specifically in a capacity where it's just replacing your normal pedal board. So for me, like my pedal board, my real pedal board that I used to use was always just like a couple drives, chorus, modulation, delay, wah, things like that. I don't have anything like too crazy on it. It's a very kind of traditional setup. And the GT-1000 gives me all of that and more. So let's start with my signal chain here. So this is my Charvel. I love this guitar. We're going to be using just like the neck pickup for most of this for right now. Oh, we're out of tune. So let's tune. Oh, it has a built-in tuner. Oh my gosh. And it does the strobe style tuner as well on the device. It doesn't do it in the app. You can't see it in here. I do like the strobe tuner. All right, there we go. We're tuned. Why does it say chorus in there? I feel like this is glitched. Let's flip it back. There we go. All right. Now, sometimes I will start with this. The Boss Tone Studio and the computer editor, I do not actually use when I make my presets. I do everything directly on the device. I think that is key to getting comfortable with modelers is you actually need to use the controls on the device. Otherwise, you'll get to a gig and you've maybe used the computer editor or the Bluetooth editor on your phone all the time and something won't be working, signal won't be coming through or whatever, and you'll have no idea what to do. So first thing is you sit with the manual and you play with all the little dials and you edit everything on there. But for the sake of the video, it's a lot easier to see what's going on in the software. So that's why we're using the software. Okay. So we got two guitars ins. Obviously it has two inputs, and the way I use that is my input is the lower one, and my singer's guitar is the upper one in case there's some kind of technical issue. So if her amp isn't working, or if we just don't bring an amp and she's just lazy and she's like, I just want to plug into your pedal board, we can both plug in, and then we can both go to front of house really easily with that. So I love that. Her signal chain goes up top. There's just nothing on here. I have a couple delay blocks I'm not using turned off up there. EQ, noise suppressor, goes into this mix, gets a little reverb. I think the reverb I'm using is called ambience. Cool, awesome, whatever. Goes here, let's ignore this little section, we'll come back to that. Goes into my preamp, and then goes to the speaker simulator, and then goes out. All right, we'll get back to that in a minute. Now my guitar, okay. Oops, let's pick over here. I don't think I can actually select that. Okay, so the divider, it's set to dual mode. I go down. First thing is the wah pedal. And I'll show a little overlay of how my wah pedal works because it's actually just an expression pedal. It doesn't have a button. So I have a MIDI controller with my setup that I can just hit the button right next to it, and then I find that works better. Because also, how many times have you accidentally played like an entire song with your wah still on? Like, we've all done that, right? So it helps too to have this big pink light to know, oh, my wah's still on. I can hit that and turn it off. It's really easy. I do love how direct it feels. It does, like, this honestly is my favorite wah, period. Like, my actual crybabies, I'm not as much of a fan of. The Dunlop expression pedal seems to just feel like it's made 10 times better than any of the Dunlop wahs. Awesome, cool, that's the wah. We go on. Next thing is the flanger. I don't know why I have this here, but it's right here. Flanger, cool. That's what I'm doing with that. All right, then we get to the fun part, the dividers. And this is why I think the GT-1000 is better than any real pedal board for most performances. Obviously, disclaimer, if you're chasing that 1% and those final 1% on your tone, no, I don't think a digital rig is like the right choice. Like, I think for sure, just going with pedals, analog pedals, maybe some digital pedals, and then a real amp, that's definitely the way to do it if you're going for the best version of yourself. And I think that for me too, but whenever I'm just playing shows or going to rehearsals, or even I've done a lot of recording with the GT-1000, there's nothing that beats just like showing up, plugging it in. Oh, I'm on my preset I use. I don't touch any knobs. All my buttons work. And you just can't beat it. The peace of mind to know, like, oh, I don't have to adjust my level and set my gain staging in soundcheck because it's all done beforehand. I've spent the time doing it. And I'm not the type of person on the GT-1000 to be switching presets. I'm locked in a preset for the whole show. Maybe occasionally for one song I have one special preset, but I like to stay as simple as possible, and I just use this exact preset for the whole thing. So let's keep going. This divider is the lead divider and the clean divider. It's kind of like a little bit like an Eric Johnson setup, but I'm not going into obviously different amps. The way I'm doing it is I've got the clean side. Let's go through this first. Clean side has its own divider. And the first thing is this compressor, which I'm not really using as a compressor. I'm using it more as a boost because I just needed one more block to do that, and the compressor one worked fine. So I don't really want it to change the tone. I just want it to give me a little boost. Perfect, does that perfectly. Now, that can be on, and then my next button, my yellow button, is going to change the divider from my clean to my dirty rhythm. Maybe I could take a solo with this. Sounds cool. And the reason I do it like that is because I don't want to have to turn off my little compressor boost and then hit this, or I don't want to be hitting multiple buttons. I just want to hit the button and go to the thing I want. And when I use the dividers for it, I really like that because the compressor can be on. I hit this, you see this changes down to the lower level here. And then my signal flow ignores the compressor. That's excellent. That's exactly how I prefer it. And then we go into, let's keep going. We go into an overtone, which is kind of like an octave. And they do have an octave setting in here. But as you explore the GT-1000 or other modelers, although you should be looking at the GT-1000, I really found that this one was better than the octave for what I wanted. Cool, that does that thing. All right, then we get to chorus. Not super strong. But then that in conjunction with the delay, which is way down here, like. That's great. And we're in mono, by the way. I'm using mono because in a real gig, I'd be using mono. I want to show you what it sounds like in mono. Then we get to my rotary speaker. right, then we get there. Now let's rewind. Now we could have all of this stuff up here on, like the chorus, the compressor. I could be switching between this distortion. I could have the overtone on. This is going to sound terrible. I've never tried this. Sometimes in my set, my band set, I might have like some weird sounds like that. So I have all that stuff on. But when it comes time to take a solo, I just want to hit one button and have a super good lead sound, or just at least strong. Maybe good isn't the right word. But and then I can hit the button that controls this divider, which is red, because of course it needs to be loud, so it's red. And that's gonna bypass all of that stuff. And I just get lead tone. If I turn all the other stuff off, I'm gonna switch between the lead tone and the dirty tone. Back to neck pickup. So you can tell it's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more heavy, and it might sound a little weird in the computer right now, but I think it sounds excellent in front of house. I think it sounds excellent on stage. And yeah, so that's how I have my all the buttons set up. And what I love about it is I don't have to buy all these. I mean, I'm sure you guys have done this. You buy all the cables, you get your pedal board set up in the right order, and then you're just like button dancing the entire time. Like sometimes that's fun. Obviously, the shoegaze, like let me just figure out what I'm gonna press next. But really, the peace of mind, and that's what That's what I want to keep coming back to with the GT-1000 is. If you get it set up right with either the GT-1000 or the Core, and you've just got your preset figured out, the peace of mind it's priceless. I don't ever have to think about turning knobs. And if I do, it's super, super easy. I can just be like, oh, okay, I just need to make this distortion a little bit louder. Let me just turn up the level a little bit more, etc. So nice. All right, we get to the end of the signal chain. Here's where both guitars come back together. I don't use a foot volume. I just use the volume knob. I don't really like a foot volume for whatever reason. The looper in this is awesome. I do love the looper in the GT-1000. I wish it was longer. It's only 60 seconds. That's one tiny gripe I have. But Boss makes the loop station, so I think they just don't want you to. They want you to buy their other pedal, basically. Okay, we get to reverb. We talked about this. There's a bunch of different reverb settings. I just found the one that I thought sounded okay. And I think also with the ambience, the reason I've picked the ambience, this is sick, is you can do the duck sensitivity. So it detects obviously your dynamics, and as I play harder, the reverb is going to be less noticeable. So listen to this. Nice and soft. Has a pretty long life there. But if I play really hard, oops, that was sharp as heck. It kind of isn't as strong to me, to my ear. I don't know, you guys can tell me, oh, you're totally wrong, Luke, whatever, I hear it longer. But with the distortion, it's definitely shorter with the distortion. Because I don't really like reverb with, like, there's something beeping in my house. Okay, we're fine. That was the coffee maker. Okay, I don't really like a lot of reverb with the distortion. I do like delay with it, and I want the delay to be clear. I think the reverb muddies some of it a little bit for me. And you hear it doesn't trail as long as the clean tone, which is exactly what I want. I don't have to hit a button to be like, oh, give me the slightly less reverb. I just hit my distortion button. This thing is sensing my dynamics. It turns down the reverb. Awesome. Okay, here's where it gets fun. And this is, I think, the best part of the GT-1000 are all the ins and outs and how you can set that up. Let's start right here. So we've got this preamp 2. And the GT-1000 has 2 amp blocks that can both be on at the same time. That's something that a lot of other pedals don't have, right? They have like a processing capacity, and every block uses some chunk of that. The GT-1000 is like, no, you have all of these blocks you can use, and if you don't want them, shut them off. And you can have them all on if you want them all on. And I think that's so much better. It does make the signal flow look cluttered because I've got like all these delays and stuff turned off, like those 2 up there and those 2 delays. I don't use those. It has a lot of delays built in, which is cool. So, but I just have that stuff off, and you just put it out of the way, and you're like, all right, it just looks a little cluttered, whatever. You get used to it. It's not that big of a deal. So we have no preamp on my main out. So what you're hearing right now through the computer, and I'm using USB, is the sub out on the GT-1000. Well, we're about to tune again. Let's fix that. So the sub out has the speaker simulation enabled, and my main out does not. Actually, it might accidentally have it on right now. Yeah, wait, that should be on off. All right, now it's off. Now it's off. So the main out is if I'm using a real amp, like I'm plugging into a Fender Twin or my DV Mark amps, like then I'm just going to use that. And my whole pedal board signal flow and my gain staging and everything works perfectly with it. And I just plug into a real amp. So I can show up, be like, oh, I want to use an amp today. I don't want to use a PA speaker or a powered speaker or whatever. I can just do that. Plug into the main out and I'm good to go. Don't even have to change any settings. It's just ready to go. All right, so we go past that because we're not using that right now, so it goes around that. This is what we're hearing right now. We're hearing the twin combo setting on here, and here's how I've set this. There's a bunch of amps in here. I see so many people complaining on the Facebook groups for the GT-1000 that they need to update it and add more. I don't know what you guys want. Like, this thing has so much stuff. Like, I really don't know. Like, there's so much in here. Yeah, there's probably other modelers with more. Like, I know some of the Line 6 stuff has very cool modulation effects and creative sounds, as well as the fractal, for sure. But, like, I don't know. This is freaking plenty. This is plenty of stuff in here. So we're on the Tweed combo, gain 40, level 70, bass us up a little bit. Everything's pretty much default. The one thing I do recommend, if you guys have this and if you haven't tried it, keep your sag at -10. Listen to the difference here. I want to turn this all the way up. It's just dead. Now, I think this is a good feature for some of the metal amps in the GT-1000. Like, I do like the sag up on the heaviest stuff, but if it's clean, turn it all the way down. Just feels so realistic. And that's the thing that just drew me to the GT-1000 over the other modelers. The feeling of playing it. I do not feel like I'm playing a digital modeler. It feels instant. It feels dynamic. It feels colorful and musical. And anytime I've played a Line 6, and I've never owned one or a fractal, so I can't really say because I'm always borrowing someone's or using their preset or their setting, or I'm at a Guitar Center or something trying it out, and it's just the presets. You do need to spend time with these, like with the modelers, getting it dialed the way you want. You have to. If I go back to one of my first presets, which is super embarrassing, don't tell anybody about this. If I go back to like this one, which I used for like a year, like this, all right, we're gonna ignore the signal flow. It's obviously completely different. My reverb, totally different kind of reverb on here. And you can see back then, whenever this was 2 years ago, I thought the sag should be at +10. What was I thinking? That sounds okay, but like I don't think it sounds as good as I've finally gotten it to. And that's what I've been looking for, is like this kind of tone. So I've arrived at this after a few years of tweaking and editing. And it does take a while, but once you get there, I'm telling you, it feels very, very real. Very real. I mean, almost unperceivable to me. All right, so we got the twin combo amp. Love it. That's what I'm using for the clean tone. I have in the past used the natural amp. I think that one's really good, and the transparent amp. Those are really good, but I switched to the twin, and I think it's really good. And also, like I just, oh, I want a different amp. Let me just click a different amp, and I own it. Like, what the heck is that? Like, that's so amazing. All right. Send and return 1. Here's where we get cool again. Send and return 1 is a branch out, and what this is doing is just taking the signal right off the board there. So we've just gone through the twin amp. So this is clean through the twin. Now we're not hearing it right now, but the send skips the speaker simulation, skips the IR, and this is what I plug into my powered cab. Let me go grab this for you real quick. All right, so I have this awesome DV Mark powered cab, and this has no preamp in it. This is just a real guitar speaker. It's their, which one is it? the DV Pearl 8 ohm. I really love the neodymium DV Mark speakers. I think they're my favorite speaker I've ever used so far. I really, really like them. And yeah, the controls on this are just input, master volume, and then there's a little tone blender, which I usually keep on the jazz setting, which just adds no coloration. It's just completely flat EQ. So I leave it on there, and I plug in my amp, or I plug in the GT-1000 into my input, and then I have a real guitar speaker on stage, but I'm still using the GT-1000 preamp, which is really, really nice, because on stage, I've used a PA speaker. I've done the simulation on stage for on-stage volume, and it sounds good, but I think the biggest part of modeling rigs that is missing in general is just the real guitar speaker. So much tone comes from the guitar speaker, and this is something I only really realized about a year ago. I was like, oh, the speaker makes all the difference. And obviously, yeah, because we know that, because we're picking IRs, we're trying different mic positions in the IR. Like, we all know, like, that matters, and we can set that up differently. But in the real world, in the room, with your human ears, like, nothing is going to sound as good as a real guitar speaker. So that's kind of why I've got the best of both worlds here, because I can have the preamp, the digital preamp, all my tone sculpting is done in the computer, in the GT-1000, not the computer. And then goes into a real guitar speaker, and it sounds tremendous. Hopefully I can get a recording of that, and I can show you guys that sometime. That might be a separate video. And then, like I said, my first output, my main output, would go to a real amp. So if I don't have this with me and I just show up with my pedal board and there's a real amp, then I can just use that. And then finally, after this, so we skip this, it goes to a EQ. And this EQ is for front of house. I've found that I just need to cut a little bit of the lows, just a bit. I think that really, really, really helped. I don't know if I have a high cut. I do have a high cut on. It's at 8K. I find that really helps, because you'll show up to a venue and the speakers are just fucking awful. And that really, that really blows. So I think like this helps a lot. Sometimes I come into the EQ and I'll tweak this at a venue and sound check, or maybe I shut it off, but whatever. All right, we get to send and return to, this is just disabled right now, actually. Oh wait, the reason why it's disabled is because this is actually how my sub out works. So the send and return to is also not being used as a send and return. It's just a send, and it's going to a DI box on the underside of my pedal board, and then that DI box is getting the speaker simulation. So we've got the preamp in the GT-1000 going into an EQ, going into the speaker simulation, and the speaker simulation is what goes to the front of house, and it sounds great. That's what we're hearing right now, is the speaker simulation with this EQ. If I turn the EQ off, and maybe for recording I might turn that off, honestly, because that would just be done in the mixing process if I'm recording with the GT-1000. But for front of house at a show, that's usually on. And I find that just helps a little bit, because you just don't know what kind of speakers they're going to have, what kind of PA speakers. So my speaker simulation, obviously I'm using an IR, right? Like, this is one of the features of all these modelers, is you can upload your own IRs. And I've actually found Chop Tones. They make an IR of the DV Mark speaker that I use in my DV Mark amp. So I just have the exact IR of the real speaker I own. And then I liked the M160 microphone the most out of all of the microphone options that it came with in the package. And that's it. And that's my whole setup. And then it goes into a little, I don't know, the master out. I don't even touch this. Yeah, that's it. So it's really simple. Obviously, looking at it in the computer, it seems complicated. And yes, it's taken me 2 or 3 years to arrive at the point where I feel like, oh, my preset in this is very, very, very set up. But when you've got all of that versatility to have the different sounds, right? Turn that off, maybe go this way. And then I can just really, really easily hit the lead sound. And then straight back. and I never am thinking about, oh, I need to tweak these knobs. Oh, sound check, I gotta quickly set all my drives to the same level. That is so frustrating. And I do love it. Like I said, like I'm actually building right now a new analog pedal board that I'm super excited about. I'm gonna make another video on. And I'm gonna try going back to analog pedals a little bit this year. But man, for some shows, I don't know. The GT-1000 just makes it so easy. Now, back to my final point. Why the GT-1000 in 2026? There's so many on the used market. People are selling them. They're getting the newer modelers, which claim to have more features and really, in my opinion, don't offer that much that's better than this. And then certainly, again, coming back to the feel, like when I play this, and right now I'm listening it through my computer monitor, like this monitor speakers. That's how I'm listening it to the room right now. It feels great, and it feels like as soon as I touch the string with the pick, like I can feel it somehow. I mean, obviously I'm feeling it, duh, but like, you know what I mean. You've tried modelers, you've tried some of these other digital pedals, and I'm sure you guys have experienced just like, nah, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. And that's every time I try a Line 6 one, I say that to myself. I'm like, it doesn't feel real. Like, it just feels so synthetic. And obviously this is also synthetic. The GT-1000 totally is. But I think the processing power in the GT-1000 is a little bit better. It is 32-bit. So I'm sure that adds some clarity. There's obviously more information being carried. And I feel like the latency of touching your string and playing a note and then hearing the sound come back, the latency has got to be the lowest out of any pedal. There's no question in my mind. And just the feel test. I have no scientific data to back this up. This is bro science. But like the latency in the GT-1000 feels the best. I have not tried the GX10. I have not tried the GX1 or the GX100 or the GT100 or any of the lower end models, but I'm sure those are excellent as well. And I honestly would say like those are probably, similarly as real as the GT-1000 since they're kind of based on the same thing. I wouldn't say like, oh, don't get those. Don't get the GX1, the new product they've announced. What I'm more trying to say is, hey, consider the GT-1000 and the GT-1000 Core. Yes, they're older, but at the moment, like nothing is actually really that much better than them. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like a week or two from now, something will come out that's better than this. But again, for the value per dollar, if this is I think I paid exactly $400 for mine 3 years ago, and it was used. And it's been so durable. Like I've spilled drinks on it directly on top of it. I've stepped on it. It's been dropped. No issues. No issues at all. I've never had any glitches. I've never lost my data. It's super easy to back up your saved presets onto the computer. I actually have backed them up onto my phone. So my phone has them saved. If for some reason it like wiped, I don't know why that would happen. And obviously like I've expanded my core. I did it a goofy way where I bought the core and then I got a MIDI controller to add extra buttons. And I'm not going to go into how to set that up or anything like that. That is not what this video is about. But I ended up kind of building like almost a mini full GT-1000 by adding the extra buttons, adding the expression pedal. But it is still, the footprint is definitely smaller than a GT-1000. And of course it's powered only with the 9-volt adapter. That's really, really awesome. So, I think you guys should consider it. I'll play out just a little bit more here. I'll kind of go through all the settings one more time for you. But if the GT-1000 isn't it for you for some reason, I want to know why, because I see so much hate about it from GT-1000 owners in the Facebook groups. Like, yeah, I love it, but they need to update this, add more amps, add more features, etc. I don't agree with that. I think there's so much in here. I'm using probably like 20% of this device's capability, and certainly less than that percentage of tones in here. I'm using like the simplest clean tones, a couple distortions and modulation and delay. I'm not even using all the delay blocks. There's so much more to be done with this thing than I use it for. And yeah, I think it's just so underrated. So here we go. The last little thing I'll play for you guys. Thanks for watching this super long video. I don't know why I made this. I just felt the need to. So here's a little delay again. Ooh, we're super out of tune. That's okay. Built-in tuner, right? They all have a built-in tuner, so I guess that's not that crazy. Close enough. It rocks. Peace.